It's Tuesday, y'all. What's up, tokers, jokers, and smokers? It's your boy, Chef Rodney 117 here with Deliciously Dope TV, bringing you yet another to your faces, Deliciously Dope's Daily Chronicles. Now, this is where I would normally have an awesome intro written for our guest today, but due to some unfortunate circumstances, Mr. Grant Smith can't join us today. He's a grassroots cannabis activist, y'all. He's fighting it in the trenches. I get it. You know, some stuff ran over. It is what it is, man. But instead, I called one of my neighbors to come over and say, what's up? This dude really doesn't need an introduction. I mean, if you don't know who he is, you're going to learn soon. But if you've ever watched the hit TV show Letterkenny, you damn well know who he is. Without any other further ado, I give you Plowwood. What up, homie? Kitty Cat. Look at that kitty cat.
Hi. Yeah.
What's going on, Bubba? How you doing?
Not actually me. It's my cat.
Yeah.
I'm doing good. Getting cat hair all over me because of him. On my pension shirt. Thank you, pension.
Right. That's what kitty cats do, man. That's why I'm allergic to cats. Honestly, like I can't do it. It's terrible.
Yeah, you end up with lots of hair in your mouth that's not yours.
I mean, they do too, right? I mean, it's theirs usually, but you know.
And it ends up throwing up on your carpet.
They just had so much fun with the hairball. They were like, "Yo, here, you can have one now too." You feel me?
They're great, yeah. They're like, here, you have one, clean up after me. And they sit in the corner and they just watch you, too. They stare at you like they're saying inner dialogue. And you just want to, like, throw something at them. But they're cats. You can't do that. They're little guys.
Exactly. Is it just me or is my video blurry? Let's do this. Hang on.
Oh, no, your audio kind of went like, earlier. Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I know. I don't know what happened.
See,
Technical difficulties. Woo! That didn't work either.
Where is he at? He's screwing around in the back there, messing with my shit.
I mean, that's what cats do. They're mischievous little bastards.
I know.
But no, man, I appreciate you coming on the show today. You know, it's funny because like we talk, you know, almost every day, and we've made fun of this cat 6 ways to Sunday. You know.
Yeah.
But you know, I wonder if he knew what we were talking about, he was just like, you know, fuck this guy.
He'd be
like, when you're sleeping, I'm just going to keep bopping you in the face. Exactly. Exactly. But
yeah, he'd smack me a bunch, but
I do appreciate you coming on the show today. I actually want to try something out, and what better person to try it out on than, you know, one of my newly found Canadian neighbors.
Yeah. I let him out.
So we're going to use you as a guinea pig today.
Ooh, guinea pigs. Okay.
Bounce some stuff off the old plywood. That's just, I mean, you know.
Well, the human guinea pig
science. As long as it's not the human centipede, I'm good with it.
No, we were called the human guinea pigs. I was the front man. It was like hardcore punk. It was fun back in 2014. Good times.
I don't really remember much of that year, but I'm going to take your word for it. So, I kind of wrote down some questions for the show, kind of structured a little bit so that my, you know, viewers and stuff can get to know other people that are watching this before, during, or after the show. So we just kind of wrote down, you know, I don't know, 5 questions: who, what, when, where, and why. They come in certain little sections, and, you know, honestly, For me, if you give me the who, what, when, where, and why details of something, I feel like I adequately have knowledge to say I have learned about said person or situation or whatever have you. So we're just gonna go with that. Pretty short, straight, simple, straight to the point. I mean, considering if you don't consume cannabis and watch the show, maybe consuming cannabis and watching the show will make it better. That's what I'm gonna try and do, right? So let's dive right into it.
These questions sound scary. I like to hear them. Let's do it.
Yeah. So, the who, what, when, where, and why. These are the first time W's is what we're going to call them. Okay? Who. Let's start with who, obviously. Who was the first person you ever smoked with?
Oh, man, it was like a group. I was in grade 9, and there was a circle going around, and it was... my friends, well, I'm my friend, so I was there. And my buddy Peter, who does Plywood Mind with me, was there. Another buddy of ours, Cody Armstrong, and then Nick Scarfoni, and then some other fellows. And the joint came around to me, and then I puffed it. I didn't really feel much. I just smelled weird, and I think that's what was making me feel all fucked. I didn't feel any different. Right. But then I think I didn't smoke until grade 10 again, and then I was in a bush, and then I played Guitar Hero for like 2 hours, and it was really funny. And then a few years later I got diabetes, and then I just started using it medicinally, and it's been like a life changer ever since. It's like an evolution of your brain that works with marijuana. You know what I mean? Sorry, I just choked on my own spit there.
I've done that more than once, but no, that's I get that. It's interesting because like one of the first times that I ever smoked, I was in a van, and it was one of my coworkers' mom's vans. They had it for the day, and they're like, "Screw it, let's just go out and hotbox the van, and then come back in after what up." You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
What up, Bruce? How you doing, baby?
Hi, Bruce.
So, like, I don't know, man. It was a van full of people, but at the same time, it really wasn't. It wasn't terrible because, like, we rolled a blunt, and I wasn't sure because I didn't really smoke cigarettes at the time. So I was just like, hey, like, I'm not gonna get addicted to cigarettes because that's tobacco. And they just looked at me. They're like, either you're gonna smoke it or you're not, And I was like, well, I ain't no bitch. You know what I mean? So that happened. Okay, so back to it. What was the first thing you smoked? Was it a bong, joint, dab, spliff, pop can, etc.?
It was definitely a J. I had the pop can though. That used to be my hide in the woods from the cops, like circa 2008.
Mm-hmm.
But like I saw this pipe actually, and it was like it looks like a pop can. It's made out of aluminum, and it looks like a crushed-in pop can with the holes at the top, and it's actually like a pipe, like made and sold in a head shop. I laughed for a good 2 minutes at it.
Hell yeah!
Then I got told to leave the store. It was good.
Hell yeah! All right, cool. When was your first time smoking a left-handed cigarette?
A left-handed cigarette. When was the first time? Grade 9.
Mm-hmm. Grade 9. Okay. Yeah, you already answered that. That I don't know.
I answered 2 and 1.
Yeah, you did.
A 2 and 1 type kind of guy.
8th grade, 1972. Smoke. Oh man.
Damn, dude.
That's up there. That's.
I was swimming. I was swimming around with the others in my dad, if you know what I'm talking about. A little graphic, but it's the truth. It's reality.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy.
Not a thought, but that is crazy.
1972. Well, appreciate you watching the show. I wonder, like, I want to definitely sit down and talk with him because, like, I want to know what weed tasted like back then. Was it some, like, terrible bullshit, like dirt weed? Because I know some of the shit from high school, like these mids and reggies and all that shit. Like, I learned the metric system, don't get me wrong. I'm pretty familiar with that. But some of the weed now is far superior than what it was then.
Yeah, you got to get some generational tokers up in this piece, man. Because, like, they've probably seen some shit,
Yeah. So where were you when you first smoked the electric lettuce? You said you were in...
I was, we were on lunch break. I don't remember where, but it was off the school grounds. I think it was like in this alleyway where the Mike Smart was back in the day. And then the school was over here. So it was like an alleyway in between that area. And then we were all just smoking in a circle. I was all like, oh, I'm afraid and blah, blah, obviously. But I'm trying to like hold that in and be like, yeah, I'm tough. I'll smoke a joint, blah, blah. But I was like really afraid we were going to get caught and this and that. It was pretty hilarious, actually.
Which leads me into my last question for that segment. Why did you do it?
Because I wanted to be accepted by my peers at the time.
Okay.
But nowadays, since there's so much research and everything with cannabis and its medical benefits, I found out that it helps out with a lot of things. So I got my medical card back in 2015, 2016 for neuropathic pain due to diabetes and my sleep issues, and it's been very good ever since. But you kind of have to stay on top of your things in your own life to make cannabis, a tool for yourself. Because if you're just smoking it thinking it's gonna cure everything, cure your depression, your anxiety, you're dead wrong. It's not gonna work. You need to do work on top of that to make the tool. It's like a supplement, you know what I mean? Supplement to make you make your life a little bit easier so you're not living in pain, or you don't have these thoughts all the time, or this or that. It's like it helps you be you, and you can just kind of live your life daily without that shit all just flowing around, or pain or whatever.
Oh, absolutely. So let's just like imagine if the stigma didn't exist, if like the war on drugs never happened and all that other bullshit, do you think that you would have smoked weed, quote unquote, for the first time, in that situation? I don't think it would have been for the same reason.
No, I think it would have just been different. Like it would have, because there was no war on drugs and there's no judgment, there's no anything. Like people are just in the street being like, "Hey man, I'm doing meth" or whatever, and it's just whatever. So if smoking a joint would be pretty much like nothing if human beings would not be the way that they are about other human beings being under the influence of some mind altering substance. I don't understand why people are like that, because it's like you're not experiencing it. That individual is, just let them be. They'll figure it out. And if they don't, they don't. Like it's all up within ourselves to figure out what the fuck is going to be best for our lives. You know what I mean?
I think Letterkenny said it best, if you don't mind if I quote that, but pull your finger out of your ass.
Oh.
Nah, that's disgusting. But no, so Bruce, I'm going to be honest with you, bud. I don't really understand what you're talking about. So $10 4-finger lids? I don't understand.
4-finger lids, dude.
Okay, what is a 4-finger lid? Is this something that I'm not privy to?
Oh, he'll answer soon.
It
Probably.
Sounds like $10 was a hell of a deal. That's all I'm going to say there. While he's responding, we'll move back to the next thing. Let's talk about some favorite W's. You feel me? It's all about that win, right? Some favorite W's. Who was your favorite person you've ever smoked weed with?
Oh, man. There's a lot of people. I think every single person I've smoked with, I'll probably answer it like that, because when someone smokes with you, I believe their mind opens up in a different way that yours does. So your conversations can kind of go a lot of different ways.
They're more accepting, I would say. Right.
Yeah. Depending on the individuals you're smoking with or hanging with, you learn something, you pick something up, whether that's a quote, maybe an inside joke, maybe some personal knowledge, maybe a little bit of life advice that you didn't even ask for, it just happened. And then you kind of go away with it, and you're like, yeah, that was a good time, There's something really relaxing and just euphoric about having a smoke session with another human being, because it kind of takes them away from themselves. It kind of opens up their kind of more natural or truer thoughts, or things that they wouldn't say normally. They want to say it. That's what I like about it.
Okay. So apparently a 4-finger lid is an ounce.
Oh, gotcha.
Which makes sense. Okay, which makes sense. Okay, cool. But I've never
quarter, half, then it's 3/4, then an ounce. So
right.
4. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Quad.
Then he asked, where about in Canada are you guys? He has family in Lake Alma, Saskatchewan. Okay.
I am in Northern Ontario, so I'm way off the grid on that one. And Rod the Bod, you are not even in Canada, or where am I pointing?
Nope.
Here.
Yeah, somewhere.
Camera right, so I can point at you, so it looks like I'm pointing at you. It'd be funny if the finger came out and pointed you in the head.
So if I do this and hold my hand up, it's like we could do a high five.
Yeah, there you go.
Except
boom.
for whatever.
Yeah, we did it. We already did it. You just didn't notice. Anyway,
I didn't. I'm actually not in Canada. I am an American, not by choice, but no, I'm an American, and and I'm an honorary Canadian because where I live, we accept Canadian currency like it's our own. So I don't really have a good explanation for that. So we're moving on to the next question. What was it? So what is your favorite way to consume cannabis?
Edibles.
I mean, I already knew that, but the people didn't.
The reason why I say edibles is because the effects are just longer lasting. I feel that I don't have to smoke as much if I have edibles in me, or anything to get like a medication or get like, medicated in the certain sense that I might need to, depending on the tolerance of the day or the pain threshold or whatever. My body's saying, hey, Pat, this is what's happening to you today. You know what I mean?
Right. So when do you most enjoy smoking weed or consuming cannabis?
At night, when I'm like, I like consuming cannabis in any way, shape, or form. Don't get me wrong, with people or whatever. But when I'm by myself and I'm winding down for the night and everything, it's like I like having a nice edible, maybe about 3 or 4 hours before I go to bed, because it kind of peaks before I go to sleep. Then when I fall asleep, I actually get like enough REM because I know my body and I know how it all works, especially with going through diabetes and all the other problems you have to work with every day. And then I know if I'm going to get a good sleep or not, or if I don't know if I'm going to get a good sleep or not, but like I can kind of estimate. Like I'm like, yeah, it's probably going to be good because I'm falling asleep at the right times. Usually when I'm off is when I have more off days and more groggier days. You got to have like a ritual with your medicine,
Our buddy Bruce struck back with, edibles are great. I use them at night when I'm at a large function and when I'm in a large function, and I'll be there for a while. Shit, Bruce, just by reading that, I would probably say that you work in kitchens because that's exactly what we used to do. You know what I'm saying? So it's...
Makes sense.
Exactly. Just there are some people that probably shouldn't function in public on edibles. I've seen some horror stories.
Yeah, it's the same with me, and you got to start low and go slow. It's also like in a work environment for me because I work in film, and I know people might be like, oh yeah, there's probably drugs all over sets and blah blah. When it's not the 80s anymore, so it's really not like that. So if you come to work under the influence of anything, it's kind of like shunned upon, or like, it's like, why is he doing that? Right. So that's the only place. Acting or gripping is like the only place like I won't consume cannabis, even if it's not the medical thing. Like I can deal with whatever I can deal with without cannabis. I'm just saying it really, really helps throughout my everyday life. But if I have to take a little bit of sacrifice time from cannabis so I can concentrate on my job and be 100% focused, then I'm going to do that because I take both jobs very seriously and I enjoy doing both because, it's my bread and fucking butter. So I don't want to screw with that or like step on anyone's toes by being under the influence at work. It just doesn't look good.
It's not professional. It's not professional. Unless your job is to smoke weed, then it's professional. I mean,
By all means, I'm not shitting on anyone who does it. Like, if you can do it and function, that's fine. I know I can do it and function. I just choose not to because I just don't want to be a liability, and I want to just get called for another job. That's all.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You don't get called back if, like, you're tripping over shit. It's like...
Or if you're labeled as like, oh, well, he was smoking weed on my team, so I wouldn't hire him. And then, like, other people talk, So it's just...
Exactly.
Kind of keeping your ass, like, not burned, unburnable ass. Get one of those...
One note can ruin a restaurant. That's the way that I've looked at it, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So where is your current place, your favorite, like, current place to smoke weed?
Current place. Pretty much anywhere. I like going out in the woods. That's the best.
Woods are fun.
Yeah. In the wintertime, listen to some atmospheric black metal. Let's go about the day. Maybe some Run DMC or something. Real chill music.
Go out into the woods and kick it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Old school. So old school you found the woods. I don't know.
Or Double X Posse or something like that. That's old school.
There you go. Why do you smoke weed?
I
mean, you kind of already explained it, but like, in summation, really.
I did explain it, and that was the medical part. I find that there's a spiritual part to it as well. It kind of lets you, if you kind of take everything into perspective and not just be biased on your one side, and you kind of lay everything down, it can kind of help you like really think, to me anyways, like this isn't for everyone though, because not everyone functions on THC or CBD like you or I or other people who can take it.
Right.
But for me, it's like it kind of lays everything out. You kind of think, you look at everything, and then you're like, okay, well, here's the pros and cons to this situation. What am I going to do about this? Or like, like you can do radical self-acceptance exercises a little bit easier, CBT, DBT, all these different ones like mind exercises. And I find a lot of sativa strains can help you kind of work with those a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
So I use it for that, but for the most part, it's because of diabetic complications and like neuropathy. It's not like I have gangrene or anything, or my limbs are falling off. It's just certain parts of them. If I touch them, it's because of damages throughout work or just physical labor. And I've switched my diet recently to kind of coincide with like getting my nerves back, or like at least like a little bit of more less damage to them. Because you can repair them, but they don't always fully repair. Like it's possible, but also it might not happen. So it's kind of like cross your fingers. So I use it pretty much for that, but on a spiritual level, there's a little bit to it.
Absolutely. I mean, I found it, meditation and cannabis kind of walk hand in hand. They allow you, it's easier to meditate that way, and it's psychologically proven and clinically proven. Numerous medical studies on meditation, and that over the course of 8 weeks, it actually enlarges the parts of the brain that are for like critical thinking and things like that, and the part of the brain where the anxiety and depression comes from actually shrinks. So meditation is huge. Yeah,
it's like what the brain part is called, like amygdala or something like that. I think that's what it is.
Dude, I've been smoking. I can't. It's gone. I'm not even going to pretend to be smart. It's gone. But
no, I got you.
The fact of the matter is, like, it's been proven. Like, they did brain scans in the whole 9, like 8 weeks, y'all. That's not that hard. It's not that hard.
It's just because
you've done worse.
Is it because of the mental health stuff I've studied too? Like, there's been mentions of not cannabis, but mentions of how meditation works, and like when you get into the state, what parts of your brain are starting to kind of like fire up and work with together. So I'm trying to remember back to that. I have the notes about it, but I'm not going to go look for them and explain this because I'm going to be wasting time. We're 22 minutes in, we're having fun. This isn't like some school lesson,
right?
Where like, adults come in and they get their notebooks and they're taking their notes and they got the test on Friday and they had anxiety about it. And their son's failing math.
I just drew pictures.
Yeah, I did my homework, but not very often. I did it by the skin of my teeth.
Yeah, I was just like, listen, you and I both know that I'm just going to end up working in kitchens. It really doesn't matter what I do here.
I'll end up working on film or on the corner of 5th and Main. One of the two.
Yeah. One, you get a discount, and the other one, you get taxed.
Yeah. All depends on what you know.
Or what you can do with that mouth. Anyways. Right.
Why I'm winking so many times.
So much winking. So let's get into the part of the show where I think this is going to be a little fun, and that makes it sound so much cooler than it actually is. But crazy W's. Who was with you the first time you got just way too uncomfortably high?
I was at a drug dealer's house, and it wasn't just cannabis though mixed. There's mushrooms too. And I think it was like my 18th birthday, and I had smoked some, and I was already not having a good time with it, so I kept trying to drink beer to kind of. That doesn't work. No. I'm 18. I'm not thinking about it, right? Yeah. So little do I know I am making it worse, even though I think I'm making it better. And then my drug dealer friend goes, "Hey man, like you seem like you're a little on edge. Blah blah. Take some of these. These are things. They're like happy drugs, and mushrooms doesn't make you do this." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I ate like a bunch, and it didn't help at all. And I was having like the worst trip ever. And then him and his girlfriend at the time were just like tripping on mushrooms and just laughing and just like rubbing their eyes all weird. And I was just tripping out. I didn't like it at all. So I'm like, I'm gone. So I left. And then as soon as I was walking home, like the shrooms hit on like head on, and that was just not helping at all. And a 15-minute walk home turned into like 2 hours because I kept getting distracted by things, and like everything kept looking like it was like melting, or like you know how you see like linear lines of stuff? It looked like it wouldn't end, and I'm like, where does it end? Like, and I'm like yelling. I'm surprised I didn't get stopped by the cops or anything. And then I got to my
It's
parents'
insane.
home, and then my mom like saw me right in the face and it looked like her jaw was melting or something. So I'm just like, I got to go downstairs. And my room wasn't even downstairs, so she knew I was on something. She just didn't even say anything.
That
And that was
actually
like
leads us into our next question, kind of like what put you over the edge. I think it was the addition of shrooms and alcohol.
alcohol. Yeah, don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're tripping out, like I would nowadays, I would probably take
Yeah.
some CBD, but like I've never
Yeah.
had like any. Oh my God, I'm freaking out on cannabis anymore. I've had some like really heavy consumable cannabis nights, like partying and stuff.
Hmm.
When it was just that, nothing else, and I'm like, I'm fine. Like I didn't even. I think it's just the additional of everything else that crosses a bunch of wires in your brain. So
That makes
your
sense.
brain's trying to handle it and like release everything it's supposed to release, and it's like I'm on overload, so you have a bad trip, so you don't know what to do.
So the next question is when? When was this? And you previously explained, you know, it was kind of when you were 18, your 18th birthday. You know, you went somewhere, drug dealer's
Somewhere
house,
around
if you
then,
will.
because it's
Yeah.
blurry, but yeah, it was around
You
then.
know, yeah. So you know, back in the day. And then where did it take place? You know, like you said, you kind of hit the nail, you know, on the head there. Why did it happen though? That's why that's the big question. Why did it happen?
Um, I don't know. I think it's because at the time I had like a bunch of different things going on, probably like a bunch of different. Like I was in high school at the time. It was my last year of high school. I was in grade 12,
Okay.
and the guy I was hanging out with a lot. Like I had a crush on his girlfriend, and like she was there, and like I don't know, maybe that had a factor in it. And I had like it's all this anxiety and stuff you just don't know, and like because I didn't. No one spoke about mental health back then either. I didn't understand like why I thought like this. I didn't know why I felt like shit most of the time or whatever. I couldn't answer stuff. So it's like, and then you figure out all the stuff later on in life, and you're like, okay, well maybe I do have some problems. And then you get some things in different perspectives, and then hey, you learn how to let go and forgive, and yeah, it just comes with. Back then, I didn't know what the fuck any of that shit was.
Right. I mean, you had to figure it out when you were supposed to and when it was appropriate for your life. You know, there's a saying, and it's really interesting because I know you've seen the movie, but the Matrix trilogies.
Yeah.
Morpheus says something goes, "What has happened and couldn't have happened any other way."
Mm-hmm.
Dude. Fuck the movie. Just say that one line. You can't step to that.
No,
You
you
can't
can't.
disprove it. You know, and at the same time, like, yo, it's pretty logically sound.
Makes a lot of sense because like
Hmm.
you could say like I don't know, like if I took this path, I'd probably be here, here, and here. But I'm like, but I don't know that. You're fortune telling
Correct.
from a choice that you've already made. You
And
kind of,
from that, you know, some people, especially nowadays in 2020, are creating these things called delusions of grandeur. Not good.
mm-hmm.
Not good, you know. And with those delusions of grandeur, a lot of people start, you know, convincing themselves that a reality exists when it doesn't. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
that's
And it's
self-fulfilling
not good.
prophecy.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
it's
another
not
thing
good.
that I sometimes have problems with or had problems with. And it's like the more you tell yourself, any listener out there right now, the more you tell yourself that, sorry, the more you tell yourself that you're a shitty person or a shitty boyfriend or you're not good at your job or you're never going to become a filmmaker or like every idea you have sucks, one day you're going to finally believe that and that snowball is going to turn into ice and it's going to just turn into fucking liquid nitrogen. It's going to be hard to fucking melt and it gets really it's hard, man. And you just if you keep fulfilling that negative shit, you're always going to fulfill that negative shit. Self-fulfilling prophecy. Don't
Hmm.
fulfill it. If you fail, you got to be like, well, I failed, so I got to try again because life is full of failing. You should
Hmm.
embrace your failure. Be happy that you failed because that opens up another door or a window of opportunity. If you want to be negative about it, I don't know, that's not my fucking problem. Like, of course, I'm a
It
negative
takes
person sometimes too, but it's like
right,
I try to lower that more than and that's what everyone should do.
but you're
Don't fulfill
working
your
on it.
bullshit
Progress is
prophecies
yeah,
about yourself.
right. Progress is progress no matter the speed. You know what I'm saying? So if like it's taking you 20 minutes to solve a 5-minute problem, so that's why I
That's
don't
your
really
pace.
agree. Exactly. That's why I don't really agree with like time tests and shit like that. Like that's how no, come on, man. That's why everybody had anxiety for the damn thing. There, now you figured it out. What's the point? You understand? Well, the
Yeah,
anxiety's good. You feed off of it. No, it's fucking not.
it isn't
I don't
good.
know.
It's hard to deal with. Depression is too. It's like, think about this, right? Like, two friends have the same friend who, committed suicide. One friend has like gotten over it, but not really gotten over it, but has accepted it and is starting to like move on with their life and work with it more. While the other friend still hasn't figured out like step one yet. That's because everyone deals with and processes things in a different fashion. You can't say that you need to process it exactly like me, and if you don't, then I'm going to judge you or think less of you or differently, because it's not how it works. Every human being has walked a different life. Like, no one's ever walked in the footsteps you walked in. No one went into the same hotel on August fucking 1993 that you did. Like, no one walked the same walk you did. Everyone's different, so we're all going to process, take cannabis, take drugs, whatever, like in our systems differently than everyone else. Food, everything. Like, we're all individuals, and that's why I don't understand a lot of things when we follow into crowds or follow into this, or like we need to be accepted or whatever. It's like the society should teach us how to accept ourselves before we start accepting ourselves into another group. That's my opinion, but I could be wrong, like I always say.
I mean, I don't think it's so much of being wrong as it is, But then again, at the same time, how come like I can do something wrong but it feels right?
Yeah, you're right.
I'm not saying like, obviously there's morally unethical things to do here and there, but at the same time,
some people feel that's right.
Yeah.
Correct?
I get that, but at the same time, like, okay, here's the thing. What if, like, all right, fine. I feel that it's okay and morally ethical to shoot, my neighbor's dog. That's not. No, it's not. Stop. Don't reach. That does. How does that solve the situation? You understand?
Exactly.
Like, it doesn't.
But some people think like that, and then they go with it.
That's a permanent solution to a temporary problem, and that's the issue. And I think that cannabis kind of gives you a second to kind of step back and be like, all right, who, what, when, where, and why, and kind of like compartmentalize the situation so that, I don't know, little Theo can, live another day, if you will, or whatever reason. Yeah. Like, and I've heard about that, man. Like a dog gets into the trash, as dogs do, and the neighbor shoots the dog. That's not okay.
I totally disagree with that. Totally disagree with that.
But here's the thing. You don't hear about that nowadays because, it was, back then when the world was different. Well, I mean, you're not wrong, and that's a very generalized way of saying it, but that's kind of part of the issue. Exactly. That's kind of the problem. You're sweeping these things under the rug instead of looking at them and solving these issues. I mean, listen.
Because we're so fixated on our pasts. That's what a lot of humans are. Even history,
too. You're not going that way, though. You're not going that way, though. You know what I'm saying? That's the biggest thing. Like, people don't need to they just need to realize that. You're not going that way.
You need to realize that things change constantly every day. Your molecules in your body change every day. You deteriorate a little bit each second with every breath that you take. I mean, it's harsh reality, and it sounds negative, but it's harsh reality. That's the human life. Like, everything changes. And, like, when people say, oh, I don't take good to change, or, like, back in my day, blah, blah, it's like, well, maybe back in your day needs to be like today. Let's switch that. Like, wake up and do something different. You don't need to be in some routine all the fucking time. Routine your life, yes, but like you can switch that up slightly, and then you can make your routine different all the time without even knowing. Just subtle differences in your life. You can keep making it and keep learning and keep being different and never know who you truly are until you're dead. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, and it's interesting. So. And it's interesting with cannabis and the generational gaps, that there are, the war on drugs, because it's like I've been approached by many of elderly chaps, and women, just elderly people, respect. They, been here a lot longer than I have, but they always, I'll approach them with like, hey man, like, what was it like back then? And they'll be like, yo, back in my day, we didn't have these fancy bongs and these dab things, and we just rolled the shit up and smoked it. Exactly. And you're just like, all right, well, yeah, but now we do have things. So do you want to smoke this? And they're like, let's blaze that shit up. They never say no. There's just the first person to say yes, because it's like they're celebrating too. They're like, yo, I don't have to worry about, being 80 now and like my back hurting. I can just smoke a fucking joint as long as I pay my taxes and I'm not bothering anybody. Let me do it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
What, you're going to put them in jail for that? Go ahead. Go ahead. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead. We'll get them out and it's going to make you look like an asshole. That's what it is. It comes down to choice. I think that people should have a choice, and I think cannabis is finally giving that back to people. But speaking of choices, we do have one last section if and you're ready for it.
I don't think I'm ready. What is this blasphemy? That's what the old people say.
I don't even think they could. Well, they might. Blasphemy for
a dab rig?
pretty big.
Yeah, like I think this isn't even a dab rig, but like a cart, as they call it here.
Yeah.
Carts, little cartridge.
Yeah, like these things, yeah.
I like them, but it's just because it's just you don't
It's a
smell.
temporary solution.
It doesn't bug anyone. Like I don't know. It kind of smells nice coming out. But like I said earlier in this thing, it's not my favorite method. I'm always going to be down with the Rick Simpson oil because it's every piece of the plant. But anyways, what I'm not ready for is your next section.
Planned W's.
Planned?
Planned. So what you want to do. You know what I'm saying? We all have dreams and aspirations. Let's face it, we're in cannabis now. This is what you plan to do with cannabis, because if you hadn't put any kind of thought into it, this kind of encapsulates the entire idea, thus proving you have thought about it like an actual adult should. Who do you wish you could smoke with, dead or alive, that you haven't smoked with? Obviously.
Oh, that I haven't smoked with. Okay. I was going to say my two friends, Tom and Justin, who are gone. Rest their souls. But since I have smoked with them many a time when they were mortals, I gotta think. That's a tough one because there's lots of people that I'd like to. Damn, I don't know. There's lots of people There's lots.
That's fine. That's a good answer.
I don't know.
What would you smoke with them? Would you smoke? Like a bong? Would you do RSO? What would you do?
I'd probably the RSO. They wouldn't be able to. Most of them wouldn't be able to handle like me. So probably, I'd probably just do the old Pass J.
Okay.
Or maybe some keep rips. Those are fun.
That'll work. When would you like this to take place? Like it could happen in the past, the future, the present. Just when?
A time where we can all go out in public and not have to wear masks, and we can lick each other's eyeballs and stuff. Stuff like that.
That's a little awkward, but it's cool. I'm good with that. It shows the sincerity of the situation.
I mean, the people at Sobeys were nice about it. So.
The Bruce is back. So Snoop Dogg and Willie Nelson is what Bruce Conley
Those
says.
are two people on my list, but I didn't want to sound all generic because Willie's just a fucking legend. And then Snoop-a-Loop is obviously, legend
my
too.
Mom, I wish my mom could have met Snoop because my mom she goes, I love that Snoopy dog. I'm like, don't say that to him. I was like, you'll get away with it, but I'm not. I was like, if I ever meet him, Mom, I'll make sure I tell him that. She's like, you tell Snoopy Dog Mom says hi. I was like, I will make sure that happens.
Yeah.
So that's a thing.
She'd get away with it because she's a mom.
Yeah. She'd be like, what do you want? I can make it. She can cook too.
Man, moms get away with so much stuff. They get away with a lot of things nowadays.
So everyone knows a place, if I'm like, yo, let's go blaze, everybody knows a place. So I'm going to ask you, man, where would you smoke with these people if you knew a place? You feel me? And Martha Stewart,
Place. I don't know. It could be anywhere. Probably outside, though. Actually, it depends on the weather.
Yeah. Last question of the day. Why would you smoke with them?
Because they all have had very interesting walks of life to me, and these are all the unknown people that I have not even listed. So yeah,
so
some
it's
of them
anthropological for you.
Yeah, some of them are friends who haven't ever smoked because they're too afraid of it, and then there's some people who are like celebrity status. So I've had them all in a room, and why would I smoke with all of them is because they're all certain individuals or brains that I've either had like I looked up to, or I would like to just like because of like how much like I don't know what is it? I'm trying to think of the right word. They've had in the community participation. There we go. For the amount of participation they had in the cannabis community, or like what they've done for like the rights for it and all that stuff. Like that's why I'd smoke with them, just to pick the brain about what was that time like for you, like in your perspective, type of thing. Because like history is really interesting to me, but like it's obviously it's so skewed by whoever's telling it. You know what I mean?
Dude, I love it. I absolutely love it. I mean, I don't think that I could have, answered that more eloquently, honestly, to tell you the truth. And history has a lot to do with it, but it shows us, that there are some cracks in the foundation, and sometimes you have to rebuild in order for things to be, to preserve things, or however you want to look at it. The thing is, you can never move, a step forward if you're getting pulled back a few steps by things in the past. I think that the archaic ways of cannabis are over. I think that this is a new way, with COVID hitting at the same time. It was kind of like the slap in the face, like a wake up with cold water. It was kind of, I call it the baptism by bong water, but that's just me, But we had to wake the fuck up and do these things, man. But it's
cannabis
crazy.
Song. Yeah, you're right though.
Bit.
Yeah, you're right on that though. You gotta fucking wake up.
But, and here it is. We're doing what we're doing, for a reason, trying to educate the masses, bring it to people's faces, man. I do want to thank you for coming on the show today, brother.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Always a blast, man. Always a blast. Like, it's kind of interesting, like, watching you on the TV going, ha, and then you're like, hey, that was dumb as hell. I remember that day on set. And it's interesting hearing that perspective, and you giving me, a different perception on that and on the show. And dude, I can't thank you enough. Especially when I was like, hey, man, like, you want to go talk about weed for like 40 minutes, and you're like, let's do it.
Yeah, man, 100%. I really appreciate you having me on. I really like what you're doing. It seems like it's very sick. Seems very real grindy. You got a lot of grind going for you. So just keep getting it.
Can't make moves standing still.
Yeah, and I'm glad I found a new friend in the States. I don't I don't have too many video chat friends, but yeah, you're one of them now, so that's pretty cool.
Always fun, but always fun, man. But all right, guys, we've hit the end of the road for another episode of the Deliciously Dope's Daily Chronicles. I'm your boy, Chef Rodney 117. I want to thank Patrick Plywood McNeil from Letterkenny here. Tell them where the people can find you, yo.
Check out Plywood Mind on YouTube, or you can go to my Twitter at DSBTTV_Potamkin, Twitter and Instagram, and then I'm on Reddit as Patrick McNeil. Just I got a link tree going. Everything's there. YouTube, blah blah. So yeah, just go click it.
Awesome. If you go to our Instagram at Deliciously Dope TV and you look in the profile there, his link is always there, guys. And as always, you stay beautiful, my tokers, my jokers, and my smokers. Until Thursday, I'll see y'all later. Peace,
homies. See ya.